Over 900 feet underground lies a pool of water the locals call the gates to hell. Located in the deepest part of the cave, the water in this pool is extremely contaminated with E. coli and tons of other dangerous bacteria. Because of the water, nobody knows how deep this pool goes, and to this day, nobody has ever explored it. Or at least that's what I used to think. You see, while researching the cave, I came across an old article from the Arizona Daily Star. Now, in the article, back in 1976, 3 men embarked on an expedition to dive down into the pool. Obviously, they had no idea about the contaminated water, but they believed if they could go far enough down into this pool, it would open up, revealing another hidden part of the cave. This mysterious group of divers ended up making it over 350 feet down into this pool before they were forced to turn back. But before they turned back, those men saw something. They took no photos, no videos, and nobody alive today has seen what those men saw. So in this video, I'm going to be finding the cave and sending a boat and an RC submarine straight down into the gates of hell to hopefully answer the question, how deep does this pool go? And what did those divers find over 50 years ago? Now, if I wanted to find what was at the bottom of the gates to hell, I was first gonna have to find the cave. So I did some research and found a YouTube video of some people who had actually swam in the water a few years ago. Hoping they could possibly guide me down to the pool, I reached out, but they never responded. And what was even weirder is that was the last video they would ever upload on that channel. At this point, I was starting to realize if I wanted to find out where the cave was, I was probably gonna have to find it myself. In 1948, the Desert Magazine releases an article called Operation Underground, which just so happened to include the location of the cave and a map. With both maps secured, I now finally have the exact location of the cave. But before I could just take the RC submarine down into the gates of hell, there's something I need to explain. You see, 50 years ago, when the 3 divers made it down over 300 feet into the pool, they found remnants of an old gold mine. Now, obviously, nobody knows for sure because the divers took no photos and have no proof, but during the gold rush, there were a lot of other gold mines in the area. So if I'm able to send my RC submarine far enough down into this pool, then I will be the first person ever to hopefully document a flooded gold mine at the bottom of this cave. Now, obviously, before I just send the RC submarine 300 feet down into the gates of hell, I wanted to do a test drive. Now, because I don't own a pool, I ended up having to hike 2 miles to this body of water, and when I finally got there, I realized the RC submarine wasn't turning on. This was very bad. When I got home, I realized it was probably because there was like a pound of sand inside the submarine. After doing some research, I was convinced that if I could just open up the sub, get the sand out, and screw it back together, I'd be good. And at first, I'll be honest, everything was going pretty good. But there was one screw that simply didn't want to come out, and no matter how hard I tried, this is so damn frustrating! I was not able to get that damn screw out. This is really bad. I'm 1 screw away. If I couldn't open up the sub, this video was basically done for.
What's good, brother?
Will, I need your help, man. Over the next 2 minutes, I explained my situation to Will, and then he gave me some advice.
Tomorrow morning, go to Ace Hardware, just say like, yo, help.
Yup, so pretty much the next day, I learned you can bring an RC submarine to Ace Hardware, and they will open it up for you in literally less than 30 seconds.
Oh my god. Dude, thank you so much.
Which is awesome, because if it wasn't for that guy, this video probably would have been over. Alright. Got all the sand out of it, so that's good. Turns out the sand wasn't actually even a problem, and what I really needed was this charger. I don't know where the charger is for the submarine. I have 5 different chargers that look exactly like the one I need, and none of them are actually the one I need. The one I needed was 70 bucks and took 2 days to ship. So with 48 hours to kill, I decided I was gonna go scout out the cave. I had 2 major questions. What exactly was in this water, and how long would it take me to make it all the way to the gates of hell, assuming I didn't get stuck? I think according to the maps, it should be just around this corner.
Let's hope so.
That wasn't that bad. Hour and a half drive.
Could have been worse.
Definitely could have been worse. Basically, we got this water testing thing, and we're gonna go into the tunnels, and using this water tester, it's gonna be able to tell us how safe the water actually is. It's not dark out, but we're definitely running out of sunlight, so we should probably...
About 45 minutes till the sun sets.
Let's roll. Even though I did have a map to the cave entrance, I still didn't know exactly where it was. All I knew was it was somewhere in this canyon. And lucky for us, we quickly found some clues.
So wait, where's the entrance? Main entrance is there. So there's a big one to the right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
6.
There's actually 6 of them.
According to this map, there was actually 6 pools in the cave, and the one we wanted was all the way at the back.
Oh man. I wonder if there's bats in here. There probably is.
Whoa, this is a dramatic entrance.
It looks different in person.
Is this it?
This does not look like this goes anywhere.
There's no way it's this gnarly right off the bat. I mean, we could. That would just be really gnarly to squeeze through.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck.
I think we backtrack a little bit and see if there's a different entrance. Worst case scenario, we just suck it up and squeeze through.
Yeah.
Turns out the cave actually had 2 different entrances.
We need to go to there.
So we have to go further. We gotta go down that way a little bit, and then we just found entrance 1, which was here. And supposedly entrance 2 was further down into the canyon. I think we gone too far. We had no idea where we were. It was getting dark really fast, and the last thing I wanted was to be searching for the cave at night. So I pulled out the map to take another look, and that's when I realized we had probably gone too far in the canyon.
True.
I think it's right there. This is kind of gnarly. Oh, yeah, this is it. This is definitely it. There it was. For the first time ever, I was staring face to face with the entrance of this cave. I was pretty nervous. I'd heard a lot of scary stories about this cave, but I also hadn't come this far to turn around.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Hello! The first room of this cave was surprisingly pretty open, but this wouldn't last long because we were quickly approaching one of the first tight squeezes of the cave. Eden is going through. Turns out, unless you weighed 500 pounds, that first tight squeeze wasn't actually that bad. Me and Eden were both able to make it through pretty alright. This is really cool though.
Pretty crazy.
Weirdly enough, it was really hot inside of the cave, so I stashed my jacket.
That was unplanned.
And then we continued deeper into the cave.
Go for it.
Eventually, we got to this part of the cave that I called the slab. We were pretty deep inside at this point, and the cave split off into a bunch of different directions, and we honestly didn't know which way to go.
Do you feel the humidity?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's down there.
Should we check that way out?
Down. Totally going off like theory though.
I mean, I like the theory. I followed Eden deeper into the cave, and the further we went, the more and more handprints started to appear on the wall. Is it a dead end? Dude, this part looks almost like it collapsed, you know? Eventually, we hit a dead end and realized this wasn't the right way. Right. There's probably a little tiny opening right there. So we retraced our steps back and decided it was time to go down the slab. I don't know what the name of this part of the cave is, but it's like the second real tight part. It's not actually that tight. It's just kind of like awkward. Okay. I made it through that. Dude.
Wow.
Look at like the ceiling in this thing. Wow.
Dang, it's huge in here.
Woo! I forgot to mention that we also happen to be carrying the world's brightest handheld flashlight. And let me tell you, exploring with this thing was sick. I wish we could have it on forever, but it got hot really fast.
It's hot.
So you could only really have it on for like a minute at a time. So just like that, we were back to normal caving. Up to this point, everything had been pretty chill. But that was all about to change. I followed Eden into this narrow passage, hoping it would open up again.
Welcome to the hole. It drops into a pool of water.
Really?
It literally is a drop off into water. Is that one of the pools you think?
I mean,
It's a pool.
I don't know if it's a pool or if that just counts as like a puddle.
I'll throw it deep.
Now obviously this wasn't the pool we were hunting for, so we retraced our steps and eventually we made it to the big room. And all I can say is it makes sense that they call this thing the big room. Like if we were in Minecraft, we had officially made it to the caverns level, which also meant we were getting close to the gates to hell. And that's when I spotted the small opening coming out of the big room. I cautiously made my way through, turned a corner, and that's when I saw it. The ladder that would lead us down to the gates to hell. This part was seriously sketchy, because during my research I had learned that almost 90% of the caving accidents in this cave happened when people were trying to make it down this ladder. Once I had made it to firm ground, I turned on the mega flashlight, and for the first time ever, I was looking at the gates to hell. This deep underground, the air quality was horrible, and the whole room just felt off to me. But I pressed on further. I'd come this far to take a sample of the water, and that's what I was gonna do. So yeah.
Hopefully we can find out what's actually in this water.
We got a lot of stuff. The bacteria one is going to take 48 hours, so 2 days. It'll turn purple if it's clean and yellow if it's bad. This is the bacteria one, so I'm just going to fill up this vial. It looks pretty clear.
With our main water sample collected, we then spent the next hour playing mad scientist, doing every other water test in the kit. With all the samples collected, we headed out of the cave. The sample was cool, but the main thing I had learned was it actually wasn't that hard to make it all the way to the gates of hell, which meant the second that charger arrived, it was go time. That will go into the wall, then that plugs into this, like that. This guy plugs into this, like that, and then this is into this, like that. All to hopefully maybe get this thing to turn on.
I hear something.
Oh, I think that's good. It's red. Yes! It's alive!
Thank God.
Thank God.
I'm not gonna lie, I had no faith in this working.
I let the RC submarine charge up, packed it all up in a bag, and then decided to do one last test run in my fraternity's cold plunge pool. Okay, I'm gonna hit this lock button. Oh, it's going. It's going. The test run was a complete success. The submarine went down, I could move it around, and this is what it looked like from in the water point of view. It was kind of terrifying, but success. Successful test run. Yes, dude. Oh, yes. It was finally time for the real thing.
I see a crack that runs along this wall right here.
Uh-huh.
It's black. It's literally just like a hole.
So maybe it's just like a small opening. I gotta like navigate it around that crack.
Like you see where it's like really dark blue in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just keeps going. I
You
can
really
see
can't
it.
see the wall back.
Yeah,
Definitely keeps going.
it keeps going down.
The question is, how far? All right, we got two things we gotta do. We gotta pump this guy up and then set the drone. And this guy's gonna take a lot longer to get ready. So I think we should do that first. Yeah, actually that's not bad, it's going.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think two people can go in this boat.
This is not a two-person boat now.
I don't know, man, on the picture there's two people.
Two children.
2 5-year-olds, bro.
Dude, I'm thinking, that's you, Ian, that's me, and then Will, you're just in the water, like, making sure everything's okay.
What's the weight limit say?
Weight limit? Where does it say weight limit? Capacity 210.
Bro,
that's
my weight.
So we are currently pumping up the Explorer 200 to send it down into the pool.
Isaac, what's your opinion on like how safe that water is after we've tested it? Like, would you be willing to actually fall into there?
My honest opinion is I don't think I'd die if I fell in, but I'd want to go straight, like I'd be booking it to take a shower.
Seeing all that bacteria and stuff floating on top, that scares me.
I go by the goon goblin.
There.
Isaac, do you want to finish it up?
This actually isn't as bad as I thought. The boat has been officially pumped up. All right, we're gonna leave the boat there. There's the pool.
I'm not confident that you both are fitting in there. Max 210, brother.
Thanks.
That's the suggested, bro.
I would love to see you fall in, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, before we do that, we gotta actually rig it out. Let's figure this out. We got the sub in the boat. Yeah, no, honestly, enough talk. Let's just do it. This raft is only rated for 2 children, and 2 adult men are about to enter it. The water's contaminated. Me and Eden tested that, so we know for sure. We got the sub, everything's loaded up. Let's hop in.
Drift away.
Oh shit! Okay. That was the sketchiest. Fucking hell, we're in.
Bro, almost fell.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's turn this way. Paddle,
We made it to the deep end.
Holy fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are good.
This looks so incredible over here.
Okay, I think we have to be kind of quick, because this thing might go down any second. Okay, I'm gonna lock us in here. This will be our anchor.
It smells like mud and like musty water.
Alright, turn the sun off. For context, the sun is actually just that super bright flashlight from earlier. Once me and Eden got the boat in position, I prepared the RC submarine, turned it on, and then got ready to send it down into the gates of hell. Now the reason I wanted to be in a boat for this part was so I could be directly above the RC submarine when we send it down. The biggest risk of the entire mission was the RC submarine's tether getting snagged on something. So I would be driving the RC submarine as my friend Eden was in charge of navigating the boat and managing the RC submarine's tether the deeper it went underwater.
Oh, it's working.
Okay, I want to see it so bad. Surfaced.
Could you twist us?
All right, hold on to the anchor, and now you got to start doing the tether.
Damn, it's deep in there, bro. It's really deep.
What? Okay, we're at the bottom. I'm going forward, slowly. At about 30 feet underwater, I finally saw how big this pool was. I slowly brought the submarine down even further, and this is when I made my first mistake.
Oh, you ruffled up the dirt on the bottom. Fuck. Try not to hit the floor because you'll disturb all the dirt.
I was gonna have to be extremely careful. If I bumped into anything with the RC submarine, I would create a massive cloud of dust. I tried waiting for the dust to settle, but it wouldn't go away. So my only option was to slowly go through it with the sub and hope the visibility got better. At this point, I could just barely make out the submarine from the surface. If I kept going forward, that meant the submarine would disappear behind the rocks. It was a risky play, but it was one I was gonna have to take.
It's be annoying.
Dude, it goes so far. It's just like a blue abyss. At this point, I lost visual contact with the RC submarine from the boat, and also made the mistake of looking away from the screen as the RC submarine slowly floated into a wall. Oh crap. I quickly tried to adjust the course of the submarine, but ended up just ramming it even harder into the wall, kicking up even more dust and debris.
Dude, it's like literally down a tunnel that way.
Oh wait, there is a rope down there. Is that our rope? Is our rope there?
No.
Dude, there's a full-on... Look, there's something. What?
There is a rope. There's a huge rope right there.
As cool as it was to find the ropes, they scared me. Because if there was one thing the RC submarine's tether could get caught around, it was one of these ropes. I decided to back up the submarine, readjust it, and come back in with a fresh angle. Eventually, I got the submarine back to the surface, but before I took it down for round 2, I made sure to do some practice laps in the water with the submarine. After some practice, I was feeling way more confident controlling the sub, and was ready to take it down as far as I could. I got the submarine down to the bottom again, but this time I was able to navigate it through this super narrow stretch of rock.
There's a bunch of water bottles on the ceiling.
I also sadly realized that this was a dead end, so I reversed the submarine out and made it back to the original big room. The visibility was still horrible, but I knew if I wanted to find any sort of flooded gold mine, this was the right way I had to go. Dude, it goes down so much deeper. I gotta be careful if I get snagged on that rope. Right here's where everything started to fall apart. I ran into something above the submarine, which caused me to go forward, but I couldn't. The submarine was stuck, so I turned around to see what I had snagged on. To my horror, it was the big thing of rope. This was literally worst case scenario, because at this point the submarine was so deep underwater I couldn't even see.
Can't even talk when I'm doing this. It's so stressful. There's like all these like bars.
Over the next 5 minutes, I was able to bring the submarine back up
like you're
close to
dragging
the
on the
surface where I could see it again. But the submarine was still snagged on something, and I couldn't get it the last 10 feet back up to the surface. The more I tried to get the submarine unstuck, the worse it became. I tried moving it around, but the visibility got bad, and I literally had no idea where the submarine was. We tried again for the next 5 minutes to get the submarine unstuck. Eventually, our last resort was to just pull it as hard as we could and hope it would break loose. Right before I was about to abandon it in the gates of hell forever, we gave it one
was
last
that?
pull.
Did you get it?
Yeah!
Let's
We were able
go.
to break it loose. Even though I was able to get my RC submarine back, this mission had been a failure. I hadn't been able to capture anything cool on camera, and if I'm being honest, I probably only sent the submarine like 50 feet down. But I'm not giving up, because you see, the submarine I have is only the 3rd best. But if this video gets 10,000 likes, I will upgrade to the best RC submarine that money can buy. Invest the time to properly learn how to drive it, and I will figure out what's at the bottom of this pool.